Well, good morning, everybody. Happy New Year. I'm back to focusing on Regen Ag here. We've been pretty focused on pushing out information on disaster programs and crop insurance because that seems to be where the bulk of our income, unfortunately, is coming from at the moment. But speaking of Regen Ag, great conference coming up in Billings here, February 2nd through the 4th. It's the Montana Soil Health Symposium. Highly suggest getting registered for that and getting to that if you have any interest in this Regen Ag. Best conference in Montana by far on that. They bring in speakers from all over the country and then also have a great group of speakers from Montana in the breakout sessions. And Wendy and I will be down there. I'm going to do a breakout session on what we're doing on our farm, but I always learn so much when I go there from people that are trying this new stuff. And we'll share what we've learned too, right? This has been awesome as far as soil health improvement. We're out soil sampling right now, and as you can see, I actually have this sample that our hired man went and brought back in, and I thought somebody had dropped off dirt from somewhere other than our farm, but we're getting some really nice aggregation in the soil. It's dark, it's actually moist still, which is a miracle, and the fact that we're sampling right now in the second or third week of January and the ground still isn't frozen, now that's a little bit alarming, right? It's pretty strange weather, but I don't like winter, so I'm not complaining. Still a lot of time left to bring some moisture in here, but what we're doing now is pulling samples to take nutrient profile, organic matter, pH, that kind of stuff of the soil. If you're going to do soil health testing, that's supposed to be done when the ground is 50 degrees and the biology is cycling more. So what we're doing right now is just going out and pulling some samples out of fields, trying to figure out kind of how we're looking compared to previous years, how we built organic matter. Looks like we're doing really good. The last sample I checked of ours, we were in that 3-point-something% organic matter where we were starting at 2, oftentimes less. And other interesting thing on the soil health stuff, as that organic matter builds and you get more humic in the soil, it seems like the pH balances out too, which would make sense when you have stable carbon in there. So a lot of our soils were 8 plus pH. Now we're in that 7, even some of this in that 6.5 range. And something I didn't think we could accomplish in that short of amount of time. So some positive things happening here. Well, our soil testing, we use this NutriScan device to actually do real-time sampling. We can use this to do tissue sampling as well. This thing's pretty expensive, but for the number of test plots we do, we like to have something especially that will give us real-time data so we can fix some things if we screw up, right? So I think it's $9,000 if I remember correctly a year for this. That will allow us to do real-time tissue sampling and soil samples as well. So for our purposes, it's probably worth it. That's a lot of money though, and for any other grower, if you're not doing a lot of test plots and stuff, you shared one of these with a neighbor. Still amazing technology. And just think, this is what we have now. When we get more into the AI end of things and the technology advances faster, imagine what we'll be able to do here in 5 or 10 years. But basically, it takes multispectral image stuff, shoots it at the soil, different elements bounce back different light spectrums, like a mass spectrometer would, basically, and then it takes that information and it gives us a nutrient profile here. So one more conference coming up right before that Soil Health Symposium. That Saturday is the Montana Next Generation Conference. That is the most well-rounded educational conference, and I go to a lot of meetings in Montana, but that one has a lot of information from accounting to ranching to farming, crop insurance, mental health. And what's really neat about that is there's 4 breakout sessions, I think every hour throughout that conference, and you can tailor your educational experience to what you want to focus on. So every breakout session is something completely different. It could be grazing cattle to all the way to regenerative agriculture to insurance. So that registration for that, the early registration ends here pretty quick if it didn't already, but there's still room. And I would seriously look at that conference. That's in Shelby, Montana. Soil Health Symposiums in Billings. I'll be at both of those. And I hope to see you guys there. I'll share more of this regen stuff as we go along. I think there's at least cash flow wise better days coming in farming for this next year, just because finally we're getting some disaster money injected into this thing where we kind of missed that for 23 and 24. So I hope there's better days coming for you guys. I will say we see some pretty big improvements, not only in the tilth of our soil, like in the aggregation, but I'm sure when I do the sampling, the organic matter is going to be continuing to build in there. And I just like to see when we pull something like this and I don't really recognize this soil as being from our farm, I think that's a real positive. So I look forward to seeing you guys at those conferences, and hope you have a great 2026.